Hello and welcome. Time for a very quick nightly video. Quick look at NLC2 and then of Theta. Within this, I quickly went over the buy low, sell high that I did earlier tonight and see how the intermediate term would work. It's going to be different when I go through the short-term numbers, which I haven't even really I haven't started to go through. No, really about. I haven't done a single thing yet. Will not till tomorrow. As far as looking how the short-term trading results will come in, which will be different. Will it be positive? Well, it's negative right now. Overall, starting off buying this as I did at around 950, up to now at 275. You would be down about 20%. And something like this, let me show you a spreadsheet on how it would play out, or how this results did play out. And within such, it would be open buy at 949. And assuming you start off, let's assume you want to play for almost a tenth of a Bitcoin. I got put 0.095 at this time frame using rake at 0.25%. So this column states how many you buy, how much it costs, how many you sell, how much you receive, and where you'd work at as far as how you'd be doing. Now, amongst such, the way I feel within this strategy, that if you leave half the Bitcoin back to buy with, then you're going to go a long ways before you would run out. Meaning, if you started buying, in this case with 0.095, it's going to take a lot of buys for you to put the next 0.095 in. A lot of big declines would have to occur. For buying at 949 at 10,000, we're doing the 10% sell here. So the first sell order was for 1,000, and we can see here that it bought back 1253, pretty much close to the same number. And then here 1,500. That's not a buyback. That's a new buy. 1,500 would have cost 0.01, as would have 1,900 at 536, as would have 2,500 at 401. And then you have two sells, two buybacks. So the 2440 got you back 3844, and the 1613 got you back 2165. But now two new buybacks, and you could have bought more here. And doing so at these prices, you probably would have a little bit better results. But this, we'll assume you bought in for 007 each time. And at that point, your net Bitcoin, this is how much you'd have left in your bankroll. You'd still have 0.055 after completing this buy. Then you have three sells, and the reason why these numbers are bigger is because these were upper sell orders that would have hit in those two examples. There's some buybacks in here, three of them. And this one was a new buy, but only 005. Again, I could have put more in. You could have go maybe 4,000, even 6, or even 5,500, 6,000 for. If you were to always put in like a 001, that would make it an interesting strategy. Again, had I would have done that, then maybe it would work out better. Maybe I could still try and see how that would happen. Of course, when you do that, then it would take a little bit longer for you, or short. You'd run out of Bitcoin or need more quicker. But then you'd have a whole bunch of sells in here at 3,100. And then, as we can see, at 31,000, that's why you're going to sell 3,100 of them. And then three of the four sell orders would have bought back, which would have left you with 31,247. So might as well keep it at 3,100. The reason I chose 47 here was just to round it down to an even number. Only reason. And that's where it would lie. So mathematically, that would mean that You've had 65,000 total buys and change, and 38,300 total sells. Buying for 0.27, selling for 0.149, basically 0.15. Subtracting both the numbers of units of, in this case, NLC2 and Bitcoin, would leave you with 27,138 forward inventory. And subtracting this number from this number is point a dozen, 1, or 0.1209,514. Dividing this number to this number gives me 446 Satoshi, which means that if the price is 287 on last trade, you're down. If your average buy is 446, yeah, you're right, you're down. And I said 20%. That looks a lot more than 20%. And it is. For the difference of 446 to 287 would be 146 plus an additional 13, 159. That's down about 40% or so. Well, the reason for such is because we're using the example that we started off with double this, 0.19 Bitcoin. So as I have the numbers, I have one called start 19. You're starting with 19, and we're doing the buys and sells this way. Then we're going to go half own and full own. Half own represents how much would your portfolio be worth against Bitcoin if you owned 0.095 Bitcoin and 10,000 of these coins. And really just in comparison because of your original investment of half a Bitcoin in here, just to compare the two. Full ownership, well, that one would be just owning 20,000 of them, what its value is. So it's obviously down the most. And I made a chart of those. We'll bring the chart up here. Here we have it. So the blue line represents the buying and lowering trading in here, down 20% so far. Having half of Bitcoin and half of the altcoin has losses not quite 40%, but a little bit more than 30. And in fact, I'm just going to put another line in here because I know how to do that. Yep, see, down about 34%, where this is down about 70%. So it's hanging in there over what has been a relatively short period of time. And this is that of a long-term game. For as long as the market during the long term either goes up, goes sideways, or has sufficient enough volatility amongst downtrends that can play out, it's always going to be a winner. So it's going up, you just don't lose. If you're playing this and the price action is, or the price point is higher than where you started, it's impossible to be down on the market. And if you are in a sideways movement, you're like, say, the Doji coin is the biggest example of one. Well, then you're going to be doing well. And that is that. Now, interestingly enough, with NLC2 volume, this volume is just consistently constant. As it's just so noticeable to see consistent, a lot of trading going on. And with the Theta coin, which I want to talk about next, to me, this is at the stage where this is just easy. Really, it kind of is. Fibonacci from this high to this low, 2,300. I guess you could almost increase it a little bit. Why? because this high is technically lower than this. So technically maybe about 24. And then increase this up to about 1800 low. But it's broken out past this level of resistance beautifully, as it did so just recently, coming up to over 1,000, barely at 30, 30 I think it was, 30.25, and now down to 28.70. This is what's easy about it. I don't like the chances of it topping here where it did. I don't like the chances of it topping near 32, 32 and a half. I do like the chances of it topping somewhere near this 36. Basically, from about 3,500, even really 36. I think it's got a good chance of hitting this previous high, which coincides with the all-time high right here against Bitcoin. And if resistance doesn't come where it's supposed to, and this is where it's supposed to, expect quick moves to its next level, which is where it gets easy from here on in. Where I'm looking for support on the intermediate term time frame on a move up to probably should be around 36 is this line in here at around 24. Probably pierce below it, but that's what I'd be expecting. Markets move up, markets move down. Breaking this area here, I think it is very foolish to sell at 4,000. And this is for intermediate term trading, none of the short term trading, that's a different story, but for intermediate term trading, I think it's foolish to sell at 4,000, 42, 44, and you're really conservative to me selling at 46. What's a good breakout north of all of this? Breaking out past here. When I look at this 5,000 number, that's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. 6,000. That's a 50% break from this high of 4,000. That's starting to move into the territory that I'd probably expect as its next leg higher. Next leg higher after that would probably be about 10,000. And then Hog Wild post that status, that is. And Hog Wild status to the upside is actually kind of fun when it happens. But that was 2017. I mean, are we really going to repeat what we did before back in the past? Where markets go down and markets go up. And they go down and they go up. But in this case, they go up and they just go up big and they just go up hog wild. And I can show a few examples of what hog wild look like. The first one is PivX. And this is back in 2016. Market's 500 or so Satoshi, and then there we go. Now that's not the hog wild move. It's just retracing previous high. That's like Theta coming up to 36. Same sort of deal. Notice here it did resist this previous level. It did then, that's easy to say, come back to 12. And then it came down even further. But if you bought at 12, would that still have been profitable? The short answer is yes. Or the spoiler answer, rather, is yes. But buying deeper worked. So you could almost say that this was like Theta from before. It went up 3,600, then back down fast. And here we have it, the spot where it was supposed to be resistance. So again, I'd be saying, I don't want to be selling this at, let's say, 3,000, or I don't want to be selling this really south of 3,400, 3,500, I'd basically be saying, 3,600. This thing is probably going to go like 3,600, 4,000. Then breaking that, we're talking about 6,000, 7,000. And Here we go. There you have it. And now breaking this, we're going hog wild. And that was the hog wild. Right in there. Just monstrous moves. And when I developed the trading tutorial that's in the more information box, I did so in a manner so that if an event like this is to occur, where something goes from like 3,000 Satoshi up to like 150,000, you're probably going to be fine. And I use this example for and such here that, well, let's just assume that you were buying in on this bottom in here at, say, 2,500. And I'm talking about selling 10%, thus giving you 10 orders, 10 poker chips to work with. And every time you sell, you got to throw a poker chip out there. And you ain't getting any back until you get buybacks. So let's just assume at 2,500 you'd sell it, say, 3,500. That's one. And not discounting any buybacks that will happen very rarely. Sporadically was the word I was looking for. So 3,500. Next up, you're looking to say at 5,000. Okay, it happened. There's two. So how about 8,000-ish area? Okay, 8,000. That's three. Say up in here, 13,000 would be four. So now we're looking at 20,000 for five. Okay, well we got six. We got two we would use here. Maybe 30,000, and then up here, so that's like what, seven, and then you have like 8, 9 orders go through, and then you obviously got to assume that when you are selling, say here at 878, that if it's going to come back down into here, you should get at least one of these sell orders back. But even still, if the last you sold was up in here and you didn't sell anything here, you were able to get some of the buybacks for back in here. But if you're selling for 30 to 40% moves, I think you're very, very safe selling 10% of what you own. And when you have buybacks, that's going to change things. It's going to help out, of course. But when you go up and it just keeps going up like this, it's going to be so unlikely that after you're even going to sell your 10th order. That's just going to be unlikely in itself. Of course, once you sell your 10th order, then you're going to have higher chances that you're going to miss out on possible future sales. But in such, you got great profits up there, and it's just going to be extremely rare. Now, as I finish this off, when you are playing markets that have these kinds of moves, there hasn't been much going on lately within PivX, but you rally up to, say, 21.4, back down to 16. Rally up to 21.8, back down to 17. Rally up to 25 and change, back down to 20. These are like 15-20% moves happening decently. But even in this spot, if we look at this key low, 1,400 is his bottom here, and then it tops here at 23 change. So that's a differential of over 50%. And not bad. And overall, things are just barely moving now compared to the way they were. But, I mean, what's the chances that really this thing can just go up again? Oh yeah, by the way, I'm trying to show other things that just go up in a flash. That was the whole plan. So let me quickly go over a few other ones. And Vertcoin, before its rally in 2017, was at 20,000, then down to 3,000, then all of a sudden, it just took off. Ready to go so fast, and just a beautiful move. This one went from 2,900 to 45,000. And with DGB, which will be the final one, it had this resistance near 180 and came down pretty hard and down to 18 here. Could have been like, oh, why would I buy something that's down so much? And for those people that bought in here and held at 55, and for those people that thought going down to 92 was cheap because it was way up here at 170, it's down to like 90. That's like 40% off. That's good. And then it goes down and down and down. Okay. You're trying to pick a bottom, and then maybe you sold some up here because of that strategy, but when these things are ready to go, they can just go. And this was in a downtrend, and then all of a sudden starts to turn up, and we still haven't hit that high yet. So it's not like it's up too much, but it is in number terms, 16 up to 109. Still hasn't beaten that high though. So it's okay there. Yeah, it got up to 450. That was incredible. I mean, it's not like it did much after that. Oh, wait a second, it did. Oh, okay. Wow. I mean, to 1,000. Like, who would have thought that something like that could go to 1,000? Oh, wow. Okay, 2,500. That when they go, they go. That's the whole point of it. Yeah, I knew it was gonna go up there because, I mean, I knew that. That's all part of show, that whole reaction thing, and then when they go here, 100 up to 800, like it's nothing. And then you get to the point where when you're trying to chase these markets, well, maybe it's going to go up here, and this is a good pattern here at 27, but maybe you're right, and it goes up, and it only goes up a bit, it only goes up to 320. And maybe it doesn't go up at all when you go when it's overextended. But I'm not trying to predict when it's going to go up, just that if I like a coin, and I think it's cheap in price, it's not overextended, meaning if I like DGB, and I'm like, hey, DGB is good and this is where it is. No, I'm not buying it now at 600. Are you crazy? Of course, when you say, are you crazy, goes up here, well, you better have sold up there because lots of great buying opportunities here at 260. You get it at 260, you see it get up. Hopefully you put sell orders in because it went back down. But then it goes up crazy again and then back down. And it's just been going down. And it's been going down. But maybe now within this coin, oh, maybe it's ready to break out. I did sell up here, and I have bought back. My last buy order was 260 something. Those 262, probably maybe around 264 or something, 265 maybe. Hey, nice to see that it's going back up, and thank you for tuning in, and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.